Kurt Angle is going to make an appearance on Sunday Night Heat. Tiger Ali Singh is going to be here running down Americans and offer $500 for any American who would blow their nose in the American flag. He points out Angle, calls him a local Pittsburgh hero. Angle says no. Tiger ups it to $2,000. Again, Angle says no. Tiger ups it to $5,000 and Angle says yes. And Angle acts like he's going to do it, but instead, of course, blew his nose in the Indian flag. Angle then gives Singh a belly to belly suplex and a judo throw. And the pop was said to have been disappointing for Angle, said to be the reaction of a mid level face. Now, this is before Kurt Angle is Kurt Angle in WWE, but
he hadn't got over yet.
Right.
It was new, green, the whole 9 yards. So I thought that might have been a little bit of an unfair assessment. It wasn't time for him to get that huge babyface pop.
No,
it wasn't time. He wasn't established. The roots were not buried deep enough that we started to grow something. Because we know that going forward, how great a star Kurt Angle became in WWE. Maybe one of the most honored and respected all-around talents that I ever signed. He just was a natural. I don't remember anybody acquiring. Somebody was telling me this story. It's pretty good about Jack Briscoe turning pro between his junior and senior year of college at Oklahoma State. And the talents loved him. He worked hard. He paid attention. And that matches up with Kurt's entry into the business as well. He was a natural. And guys gravitated to him because he's such a likable character. And he was willing to listen and open up his mind because he realized he didn't know all the answers to pro wrestling yet. He had to get there. So, but I've always had great respect for Kurt. Still do. I don't hear much about him anymore. I know he's making a lot of appearances and things, which are cool. But in any event, I'm a big Kurt Angle fan. Was from the day we signed him. I knew that him being a sportscaster was not going to work. All you had to do is hear his work. That was not what he was called to do. He was called to wrestle, entertain, be physical, be athletic, do all the things that you're blessed with, and see where it takes you. And we did that, and it took him to some interesting highs.
I want to ask you more about this particular segment with Tiger Ali Singh, but I want to sort of sidebar here for a minute. There's been a conversation for the past several months, and boy, it really heated up a few weeks ago again, about Dave Meltzer's star match rating system. And I guess there's a lot of people who are upset at the rating system, and they feel like maybe it's gotten out of hand. The idea being Kurt Angle, one of the all-time greatest professional wrestlers that ever lived, never got a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer. Meanwhile, there's a lot of modern talent who have a half dozen or more. I'm curious, what do you make of Dave's 5-star rating? Do you think it's overhyped? Do you think it's valid? It has its place? Is it silly that Kurt doesn't have one? Where do you land on that?
I don't land on it with both feet. Quite frankly, I think that certainly Kurt has had, in my view, I think I called a match one time with Kurt and John Cena. I believe I have to go back and do a little research, but he should have had a 5-star match somewhere in his journey, no doubt. Logically, you'd think so.
Yeah.
But I just think it's a Wrestling Observer feature. It's a gimmick. It's Meltzer likes doing those, and he's built some business around it, and so I had no big issues with it. To me, it's all it meant was one guy's opinion is this.
Right.
Call it a day. That's it. It's not going to make or break anything. It's not going to I'm not going to fire a guy because, well, you haven't got any 5-star matches from Meltzer. So we're going to let you go. It just wasn't.
No.
So it wasn't a huge deal. It wasn't a huge deal.
Let's talk a little bit about this segment with Tiger Ali Singh, though, before we move on. This happens in like March of 1999, and we don't actually see Kurt Angle debut until November. And I'm curious, do you think if Kurt would have not gotten the mid-level face reaction, which is the way Dave described it, and he got this monster pop, do you think they would have fast-tracked him and not been as patient? I mean, I know it worked out for the best the way it happened, but if the reaction would have been over the moon, do you think Vince would have been tempted, hey, let's just get him out there sooner?
Of course. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Vince is very astute, and great promoters have a flair, no pun intended, of finding who's hot, who's trending upward. And I think Vince would have probably jumped on that deal. But the mid-card aspect of that was just what it was. I mean, Vince wasn't ready to commit to Kurt, even though he would going forward in a very large and significant way.
Let's talk a little bit about what's next for you here. Quote, Jim Ross came out with a shopping bag and called Michael Cole to the ring. He was mad about being fired. He pulled the red gi and the stupid mask out of the bag and said, this is what the WWF creative team had planned for Steve Williams, who was one of the greatest athletes in the world. Ross said he wanted his job back and kicked Michael Cole low and went to the broadcast position to take over. And this got a huge face pop. Vince then ordered Terry Taylor to replace Cole and take the headsets from Ross. Taylor and Ross argued, but eventually Williams came out and talked Ross into leaving. So Taylor and Lawler did the rest of the show, and the Red Rooster is going to take over on play-by-play the rest of the show. Man, the reaction for you kicking Michael Cole low, that was probably not the original plan. I think they underestimated how beloved good old JR was.
I guess I did. I know that. I didn't have any idea what kind of reaction we were going to get. You know, if you're going to be a heel, as Jim Cornette would say, I'm a goddamn heel, then you hope that you get booed. But that didn't happen. And in the long haul, that was probably one of the best things that happened to me, is that the fans still supported good old JR for whatever reason.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-Free Shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that AdFreeShows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. AdFreeShows.com.